The alarm bells rang through the central command station of the Galactic Council. The sound was loud and sharp. It had not rung like this for over 200 years. Commander Zareth jumped from her chair. Her blue skin turned pale as she looked at the screen in front of her. The numbers on the display were wrong. They had to be wrong. Nothing could create readings like this. Check the sensors again, she said to her team. Her voice was calm, but her hands were shaking. Tech Officer Krellin ran his 6 fingers over the control panel. His insect-like eyes moved quickly as he read the data. Commander, I have checked 3 times. The readings are correct. That is not possible, Zareth said. She walked closer to the main display. The screen showed a map of known space. In one corner, a small yellow star glowed. Next to it was a tiny blue dot. That was Earth, home to the humans. But now something else was there. Something big. Something that should not exist. Show me the energy readings, Zareth ordered. The screen changed. Numbers filled the display. Zaroth had been studying space energy for 50 years. She had never seen anything like this. The gravitational waves started 1 hour ago. Krallan explained. They came from the Sol system, from near the human home world. Humans? Zareth laughed, but it was not a happy sound. Humans can barely travel to their own moon. Their ships use chemical fuel. They are like children playing with toys. Commander, another voice called out. It was Officer Meldock from the long range. Scanner station. You need to see this. Zareth H. moved to his station. Meldock was old, even for his species. He had worked with space scanners for over 100 years. His face was worried. What is it? Zareth asked. I am picking up a massive object in the Sol system. It appeared from nothing. One moment, empty space. The next moment, this. The scanner screen showed a shape. It was long and dark. Even from far away, it looked huge. How big? Zareth asked. Over 1,000 meters long. Maybe more. The readings are unclear because of some kind of energy field around it. Zareth felt cold. The biggest warship in the Galactic Council fleet was only 600 meters long. And that ship took 50 years to build. Are you sure it is from the humans? The energy signature matches their technology. But Commander, their technology should not be able to build something like this. Zareth walked back to her command chair. She needed to think. The humans had joined the galactic community only 5 years ago. They had seemed weak and primitive. Their representatives had been polite but quiet. They asked for trade agreements and protection. They offered nothing in return except some basic metals and simple art. Every alien species that met humans thought the same thing. They were new to space. They were harmless. They needed help to survive among the older, stronger civilizations. Get me a direct line to the High Council, Zareth ordered. Yes, Commander. The main screen changed again. Now it showed the faces of the 5 High Council members. They were the leaders of the 5 most powerful species in known space. Each one had ruled for hundreds of years. Council members, Zareth began. We have a situation. High Chancellor Veximer spoke first. He was from the Dominion, the strongest military force in the galaxy. His species looked like tall, thin humans, but with gray skin and no hair. Explain quickly, he said. Massive energy readings from the Sol system. A large object has appeared near Earth. We believe it is a warship. A human warship? Chancellor Veximer laughed. Impossible. We have reports on their military. They have small ships with weak weapons. Nothing that could threaten anyone. The readings suggest otherwise, Zareth replied. High Counselor Taishla spoke next. She was from the Science Union, a group of species that shared knowledge and technology. Her people were known for being very smart. Show us the data, she said. Zareth sent the information to their screens. For a few minutes, the council members were quiet as they read. "This cannot be correct," High Counselor Taishla said finally. "The energy output is massive. It would take our best shipyards 20 years to build something like this. Humans do not have that technology." "Maybe they are not humans," suggested High Counselor Gorthan from the Trade Federation. "His species looked like large bears with 4 arms. Maybe another species has taken over their system." "No," Zareth said. "The energy signature matches. Human technology. It is definitely from them." High Chancellor Veximer's face became serious. "If humans have built a warship this large, it changes everything. We need to know more." "I agree," said High Counselor Ren-Fi from the Exploration Guild. "Her species lived in space and rarely visited planets. Send a scout ship immediately." The 5th council member had been quiet until now. High Counselor Zeekmar from the Military Alliance was known for being careful and thinking before speaking. "No," he said. "Do not send a scout ship." "Why not?" Chancellor Veximer asked. "Think about this," Zekmar continued. "Humans have been in space for less than 100 years. We have been watching them for the last 50 years. In all that time, they have shown us small ships and weak weapons. Now, suddenly, they have a massive warship. Your point?" Taishla asked. "They have been hiding their true abilities. For 50 years, they have let us think they were weak and helpless. That takes planning. That takes patience. Species that can plan for 50 years are dangerous." The other council members looked uncomfortable. Zekmar was right. If humans had been hiding their strength for so long, what else were they hiding? "We need to call an emergency session," Chancellor Veximer decided. "All member species need to know about this." "Agreed," the other council members said. The screen went dark. Zareth looked around her command station. Her team was staring at her, waiting for orders. "Continue monitoring the Sol system," she said. "I want to know if anything else appears. And send a message to all our deep space sensors. If there are more human ships out there, we need to find them." "Yes, Commander," Krellin replied. Zareth sat down and looked at the display showing the human ship. It was just sitting there in space, not moving. But somehow, that made it more frightening. It was like a sleeping giant, waiting to wake up. In her 50 years of service, Zareth had seen many wars. She had watched species fight and die. She had seen the rise and fall of civilizations. But she had never felt fear like this. The humans had been quiet for too long. And now, the galaxy was about to learn why. Admiral Sarah Chun stood on the bridge of the U-East Prometheus and looked out at the stars. She had waited 30 years for this moment. 30 years of keeping secrets. 30 years of building in the shadows. "Admiral," called Lieutenant Commander Park from the communication station. "We are receiving multiple signals from Earth Command. The alien fleets have been spotted at the edge of our solar system." Sarah nodded slowly. She had expected this day would come. For 50 years, humanity had been preparing. They had learned to smile and act weak while building the strongest weapons the galaxy had ever seen. "How many ships?" she asked. "Long-range sensors show over 200 alien vessels. They appear to be from the Zektar hegemony." Sarah felt her stomach tighten. The Zektar were known throughout the galaxy as conquerors. They had destroyed dozens of civilizations. They took what they wanted and killed the rest. "Time until they reach Earth?" 18 hours, Admiral." Sarah walked to the center of the bridge. Around her, 30 crew members worked at their stations. Each one had trained for years for this moment. Each one knew that the future of humanity depended on what happened next. "Open a channel to Earth." "Command," Sarah ordered. The main screen showed the face of General Martinez, head of Earth's secret military program. Behind him, Sarah could see the busy command center on Earth. People were running everywhere, preparing for war. "Admiral Chun," General Martinez said, "are you ready?" "The Prometheus is fully operational, sir. All systems are running perfectly." "Good. The President has given authorization for Operation Revelation. You may decloak when ready." Sarah felt a moment of sadness. For 50 years, humanity had lived a lie. They had pretended to be weak and helpless. They had let alien species think they were nothing more than primitive animals who had just learned to fly between planets. But the lie was necessary. When the first alien ship had crashed on Earth in 1975, humanity had learned two important things. First, they were not alone in the universe. Second, the universe was full of species that would destroy them if they seemed threatening. So humanity had made a choice. They would hide their strength until they were strong enough to protect themselves. "Begin decloak sequence," Sarah ordered. "Yes." "Admiral," replied Commander Torres from the tactical station. Around the ship, the cloaking field began to fade. The Prometheus had been hidden inside a hollowed-out asteroid for the past 5 years. To any alien sensor, it looked like empty space, but now the truth was revealed. The UES Prometheus was 1,200 meters long. It was built with technology that no alien species had ever seen. The humans had taken the crashed alien ship from 1975 and spent 50 years improving everything about it. The ship's hull was made from a new metal that could absorb energy weapons. The engines used exotic matter to bend space itself. The weapons could destroy a planet from 1,000,000 kilometers away. "Decloak complete, Admiral," Commander Torres reported. "Power up all systems. Charge the quantum lance batteries. Prepare the shield generators." "All systems coming online, Admiral." Sarah looked at her crew. They were young, most of them in their 20s and 30s. But they had trained on simulators that used real alien technology. They knew exactly what their ship could do. "Admiral?" Lieutenant Park called out. "We are receiving a transmission from the alien fleet. Put it on the main screen." The display changed to show an alien face. It looked like a lizard standing on 2 legs. Its skin was green and covered in scales. Its eyes were yellow and cold. "Human vessel," the alien said in broken English. "I am War Commander Voshk of the Zektar 3rd Fleet. You will surrender immediately or be destroyed." Sarah stepped forward so the alien could see her clearly. "This is Admiral Sarah Chun of the United Earthship Prometheus. You have entered human space without permission. You have 18 hours to leave our solar system." War Commander Voshi made a sound that might have been laughter. "You think your one ship can fight my entire fleet? You humans are even more stupid than we thought." "Commander," Sarah said calmly, "you should know that my ship is not like the ones you have seen before. I suggest you scan us very carefully before making any threats." The transmission ended. Sarah knew that Voshk was now running every sensor he had at the Prometheus. In a few minutes, he would realize his mistake. "Admiral," called Commander Torres, "I am detecting energy spikes from the alien fleet. They are scanning us with everything they have." "Let them look," Sarah replied. "They need to understand what they are facing." Sarah walked to the viewing window. In the distance, she could see Earth. It looked so small and peaceful. Billions of people lived on that blue planet, and most of them had no idea that alien warships were coming to destroy them. But Sarah knew. Her entire life had been dedicated to this moment. She had been born in 2145, 50 years after first contact with alien technology. As a child, she had been selected for the Prometheus program. Only the smartest and strongest humans were chosen. They spent their entire lives preparing for the day when humanity would have to fight for survival. "Admiral," Lieutenant Park said, "the alien commander is requesting another communication." "Put him on screen." War Commander Voshk appeared again. This time, his face looked different. The confidence was gone, replaced by confusion and worry. "Human Admiral," he said slowly, "our scans of your ship show some unusual readings. What kind of weapons are you carrying?" Sarah smiled. "The kind that will send you home with a story to tell, if you are smart enough to leave now. You are bluffing. One ship cannot defeat 200. "Commander Torres," Sarah said without looking away from the screen, "show our friend what the Prometheus can do. Fire one quantum lance at the asteroid belt." "Yes, Admiral." A beam of pure energy shot out from the front of the Prometheus. It traveled across space faster than light and struck a large asteroid 1,000,000 kilometers away. The asteroid simply disappeared. One moment it was there. The next moment there was nothing but empty space. War Commander Voshk stared at the screen. In shock. "That is impossible. No weapon can destroy matter completely. You have 17 hours and 55 minutes to leave our solar system," Sarah said. "I will not ask again." The transmission ended. "Admiral," Commander Torres said, "the alien fleet is holding position. They are not advancing, but they are not leaving either." Sarah nodded. "They need time to think. Vosh is probably contacting his superiors right now, asking for orders." "What if they attack anyway?" asked Lieutenant Park. Sarah looked at her. "Young communications officer. Then we show them what 50 years of human engineering can accomplish. And we send a message to every alien species in the galaxy that Earth is no longer an easy target." On the main screen, the display showed the positions of all ships in the solar system. 200 alien warships faced one human dreadnought, but Sarah was not worried. She knew something the aliens did not know. The Prometheus was not alone. Hidden throughout human space were 11 more ships just like it. Each one was crewed by the best humanity had to offer. Each one carried enough firepower to destroy an entire fleet. For 50 years, humanity had been the quiet neighbor that no one paid attention to. But now, the galaxy was about to learn that the quiet ones were often the most dangerous. "All stations, report status," Sarah ordered. "Weapon systems fully charged and ready. Shields at maximum power. Engines ready for combat maneuvers. Communication systems standing by." Sarah took a deep breath. The moment she had trained for. Her entire life was about to begin. Humanity's future hung in the balance. "Very well," she said. "Let's see if our visitors are smart enough to leave or foolish enough to stay." War Commander Voshk sat in his command chair and stared at the reports coming in from his science officers. The numbers did not make sense. The human ship was showing energy readings that should be impossible for such a primitive species. "Science. Officer Krelth," he called out. "Explain these readings to me again." The young Zektar officer looked nervous. "Sir, the human vessel is generating more power than our entire fleet combined. The energy signature suggests weapons and shields far beyond anything in our database." "That cannot be correct," Voshk growled. "Humans have been in space for less than 100 years. We have been conquering the galaxy for over 2,000 years. Sir, I have checked the readings 6 times. They are accurate." Voshk stood up and walked to the main viewing screen. In the distance, he could see the human ship. It was large, yes, but it was still just one ship against his fleet of 200 vessels. "Sub-Commander Gorfel," he called to his tactical officer, "what is the status of our fleet?" "All ships are in attack formation, sir. We have the humans surrounded. They cannot escape." Voshk nodded. The Yigtar had conquered 43 different species in the past 500 years. They knew how to fight. They knew how to win. "Open a channel to the human ship," he ordered. The screen showed the face of the human admiral again. She looked calm, almost bored. That made Voshk angry. She should be afraid. She should be begging for mercy. "Human admiral," he said, This is your final warning. Surrender now, or we will destroy your ship and then your planet. War Commander, Admiral Chun replied, I gave you 17 hours to leave. You now have 16 hours and 42 minutes remaining. I suggest you use that time wisely. You think we are afraid of your one ship? I think you should be, she said simply. Vosk's anger grew. No one had ever spoken to him like this. No species had ever shown such disrespect to the mighty Zektar fleet. You want to see what happens when you challenge the Zektar hegemony? He shouted. Attack formation. All ships prepare to fire. The transmission ended. Around him, his bridge. Crew moved quickly to carry out his orders. Sir, Science Officer Krelth said quietly, perhaps we should wait for orders from High Command. Vosk turned to face the young officer. Are you questioning my command? No, sir. But the readings from the human ship are wrong, Vosk interrupted. Or lies meant to make us afraid. The humans are trying to trick us with false sensor readings. All ships report ready to attack, Sub-Commander Gorthel announced. Fire! Vosk ordered. From every ship in the Zektar fleet, energy beams shot toward the human vessel. The space around the Prometheus filled with deadly light as 200 ships fired their weapons at once. When the light faded, Vosk expected to see nothing but debris. Instead, the human ship was still there, completely undamaged. Around it, a blue energy field glowed brightly. What happened? Vosk demanded. Sir, Gorthel said, his voice shaking, their shields absorbed all of our weapons' fire. No damage to their ship at all. That is impossible. On the screen, Admiral Chun appeared again. War Commander, that was very rude. Now it is my turn. The human ship began to move. It was not fast, but it moved with purpose. The front of the ship began to glow with a strange red light. All ships, evasive maneuvers. Vosk shouted, but it was too late. A beam of red energy shot out from the human ship. It struck the Zektar heavy cruiser Revenge directly in the center. The massive warship, over 400 meters long, simply vanished. No explosion, no debris. One moment it was there, the next moment it was gone. The bridge of Vosk's flagship was completely silent. 2,000 Zektar warriors had just died in an instant. Status report, Vosk finally managed to say. The Revenge is gone, sir, Gorthel reported. Completely destroyed. No survivors. How many shots does the human ship have? Unknown, sir. The human ship fired again. This time, the beam struck 2 destroyers flying in formation. Both ships disappeared just like the first one. Scatter formation, Vosk ordered. Do not fly close together. But the human ship was not finished. It turned toward a group of frigates and fired multiple beams at once. 6 ships vanished in a single attack. Return fire. All ships, concentrate your weapons on that ship. The Zektar fleet attacked again, pouring everything they had at the human vessel. But the blue shield around the Prometheus never even flickered. The human weapons, however, continued to destroy Zektar ships with each shot. Sir, Science Officer Krelth said, we have lost 47 ships in less than 10 minutes. At this rate, our entire fleet will be destroyed within the hour. Vosk watched in horror as another group of his ships disappeared under the human weapons. In his long military career, he had never seen anything like this. The humans were not just winning, they were making it look easy. How are they doing? This? He asked. Sir, I believe they have been hiding their true technology from us. Their weapons appear to use quantum energy manipulation. Their shields are based on exotic matter physics. This is technology we do not understand. Another ship died, then another. The human vessel moved through space like a predator hunting. Prey, it was not in a hurry. It fired, destroyed, and moved on to the next target. "Sir," the communications officer called out, "we are receiving surrender requests from multiple ships in our fleet." "No," Voshk shouted. "The Ziktar do not surrender." "Sir, the cruiser Iron Fist is requesting permission to withdraw. They say their shields are failing and their weapons are useless." Voshk looked at the battle display. Over half of his fleet was gone. The remaining ships were scattered across space, trying to avoid the human weapons. But no matter where they went, the human ship found them. "War Commander," Admiral Chun's voice came over the communication system. "You now have two choices. You can order your remaining ships to leave our solar system immediately, or I can continue destroying them one by one. You have 60 seconds to decide." Voshk felt something he had never felt before in his life. Fear. Pure, cold fear. The humans had not just defeated his fleet, they had made it look like a game. "Sir," Gorthel whispered, "we must retreat. We cannot win this battle." 60 seconds are up," Admiral Chun announced. The human ship targeted the heavy cruiser Stormbringer. The red beam fired, and another Zektar ship died. All ships. Voshk finally called out, "Immediate retreat. Jump. To hyperspace. Now." Around the human ship, the surviving Zektar vessels began to disappear as they activated their faster-than-light drives. In less than 5 minutes, the mighty Zektar Third Fleet was gone, leaving behind only empty space and the memory of their defeat. "Sir," Gorthel said quietly, "we lost 137 ships. Over 50,000 warriors are dead." Voshk slumped in his command chair. In one battle, the humans had destroyed more than half of his fleet. Not only that, they had made it look easy. The human ship had never been in any real danger. "Sec. Course for Zektar Prime," he ordered. "Maximum speed." "Yes, sir." As his ship jumped to hyperspace, Voshk thought about what he would tell his superiors. How could he explain that a single human ship had defeated the pride of the Zektar fleet? But more important than his embarrassment was the message this battle would send throughout the galaxy. Word of this defeat would spread to every species, every world, every civilization. The humans were no longer the weak, primitive species everyone thought they were. They had been hiding their strength, waiting for the right moment to reveal it. And now the galaxy would learn to fear the name. Earth. Back in the Sol system, Admiral Chun looked at her tactical display. Where moments before there had been 200 enemy ships, now there was nothing but peaceful space. "Damage report?" she ordered. "No damage to report, Admiral," Commander Torres replied. "Shields held at 98%. All weapons systems functioning normally. Casualties? None, Admiral." Sarah nodded. It had gone exactly as the simulations had predicted. 50 years of preparation had paid off. Communications. Send a message to Earth Command. Tell them the threat has been eliminated. "Yes, Admiral." Sarah looked out at the stars again. This battle was over, but it was only the beginning. Soon, every species in the galaxy would know what had happened here. Some would be afraid. Some would be angry. Some would want to be humanity's friends. But all of them would know one thing for certain. Earth was no longer a target. Earth was now a power to be respected. The news traveled fast across the galaxy. Faster than any ship, faster than any army. The story of the human victory spread from world to world. In the great halls of the Galactic Council, emergency meetings were called. On military bases throughout, known space, generals and admirals studied the battle reports. In scientific laboratories, researchers tried to understand how the humans had built such powerful weapons, but nowhere was the shock greater than on the home world of the Zektar. Hegemony. War Commander Voshk stood before the Supreme War Council, the highest military authority of his people. The 5 supreme commanders sat behind a curved table, their cold eyes staring down at him. "Explain," said Supreme Commander Draxith, the oldest and most feared of the Zektar leaders. "Explain how you lost half of the Third Fleet to a single human ship." Voshk had practiced this moment during the long journey home. But now, facing the Supreme Council, he felt like a young soldier again. "Supreme Commanders, the humans have been hiding their true capabilities. Their ship possessed weapons and shields far beyond anything in our database." "One ship?" repeated Supreme Commander Corthan. "You had 200 ships." "Yes, Supreme Commander. But their technology is unlike anything we have encountered. Their weapons destroyed our ships completely. No debris, no survivors. Their shields absorbed our heaviest attacks without damage." The Supreme Commanders looked at each other. Voshk could see the doubt in their eyes. The Zektar had never lost a battle like this. Not in over 2,000 years of conquest. "Show U.S. the recordings," Draxith ordered. The chamber's main screen came to life. It showed the battle from the perspective of Voshk's flagship. The Supreme Commanders watched in silence as the human ship destroyed Zektar vessels with single shots. They saw the red energy beams that made ships vanish. They saw the blue shields that stopped every attack. When the recording ended, the chamber was quiet for a long time. "How is this possible?" Supreme Commander Velgoth finally asked. "Our intelligence reports said the humans were primitive. They should not have this technology." "I believe they have been deceiving us," Voshk replied. "For 50 years, they have shown us only weak ships and simple weapons. But they have been building in secret. Meanwhile, in the scientific centers of the galaxy, alien researchers were working day and night to understand what they had seen. The recordings of the battle had been shared throughout the civilized worlds. Everyone wanted to know how the humans had done it. Dr. Taishalon was the greatest physicist in the Science Union. She had studied technology from 100 different species. She had spent 300 years learning about energy, matter, and the laws of physics. But the human weapons confused her. "The energy readings make no sense," she told her research team. "According to our understanding of physics, those weapons should not work." "Perhaps our understanding is incomplete," suggested her assistant, Dr. Krelmoth. "Or perhaps the humans understand something we do not," Taishalon replied. She looked at the data again. The human ship had used quantum energy in ways that should be impossible. Their shields had manipulated exotic matter to create perfect defense. Their engines had been space itself. "Computer," she said, "show me all intelligence reports on human technology from the past 50 years. The display filled with information. Reports from traders who had visited Earth. Spy data from various alien intelligence services. Technical analyses of human ships that had been observed in space. Not all of it showed the same thing. Simple chemical rockets, basic energy weapons, primitive computers. Nothing that could build a ship like the Prometheus. They have been lying to us," Taishalon said quietly. "For 50 years, they have been lying to everyone." But the biggest shock came when the full truth was finally revealed. On Earth, President Maria Santos stood before the United Nations General Assembly. With her were the military leaders who had kept humanity's greatest secret for 5 decades. "My fellow humans," she began, "for 50 years, our species has lived a lie. Today, that lie ends." Behind her, a large screen showed the image of a crashed alien ship. It was old and damaged, but clearly not human in design. In 1975, this vessel crash-landed in the Nevada desert. The crew was already dead, killed during their journey to Earth, but their technology was intact. The audience was silent. Even the world leaders in the front row had not known this secret. For the past 50 years, our best scientists have studied this ship. We have learned to understand alien technology. We have improved it. We have built upon it. The screen changed to show underground facilities. Massive construction projects hidden deep beneath the Earth's surface. Thousands of workers building ships and weapons that looked nothing like human technology. We knew that other species existed in the galaxy. We knew that many of them were hostile. We knew that if they discovered our true capabilities too early, they would unite against us and destroy us. President Santos paused. She looked out at the assembly hall, seeing the shocked faces of the representatives from every nation on Earth. So we made a choice. We decided to appear weak while we built strength. We decided to let the galaxy think we were primitive while we developed the most advanced weapons ever created. The screen now showed the Prometheus and its sister ships. 12 massive vessels, each one capable of fighting an entire alien fleet. The ship you saw defeat the Zektar fleet is just the first of 12 identical vessels. Each one represents 50 years of human engineering and determination. Each one carries enough firepower to destroy a planet. In space stations throughout the galaxy, alien species watched the broadcast with growing fear. The humans had not just built one powerful ship. They had built 12 of them, but President Santos was not finished. These ships are not our only secret. In the asteroid belt, we have constructed mining and manufacturing facilities. On the far side of the moon, we have built research laboratories, studying technology that most species have never imagined. The screen showed images that made alien scientists gasp in amazement. Factories that could build entire starships in weeks. Laboratories where human researchers worked with technologies that looked like magic. We have developed faster than light. Communication. We have learned to manipulate time itself on a small scale. We have created materials that can exist in multiple dimensions at once. Dr. Taishlan watched the broadcast from her laboratory. Around her, her research team sat in stunned silence. They have been working for 50 years, she whispered. While we thought they were children playing with rockets, they were building an empire. We have mapped every inhabited system within 500 light years of Earth, President Santos continued. We know the location of every alien military base, every trade route, every source of strategic materials. Our intelligence network includes agents on over 200 worlds. Some of you have been working with humans for years without knowing it. Supreme Commander Drexith felt his blood turn cold. If the humans had spies throughout Zektar space, then they knew everything about his military plans. But most importantly, President Santos said, we have learned the greatest lesson of all. In this galaxy, strength is the only thing that matters. Species that appear weak are destroyed. Species that appear strong are respected. For 50 years, we have appeared weak. Today, that changes. Today, humanity takes its place as a major power in the galaxy. The broadcast ended, but the effects would last for generations. In government buildings throughout known space, alien leaders called emergency meetings. Military commanders revised their strategic plans. Scientists struggled to understand how they had been so completely fooled. The humans had not just hidden their strength. They had turned deception into an art form. They had made every alien species in the galaxy believe exactly what they wanted them to believe. Commander Voshk watched the broadcast from his prison cell on Zektar Prime. He had been arrested for losing the battle, but now he realized he had never had a chance to win. The humans had been preparing for this fight for 50 years. They had studied every alien weapon, every alien ship, every alien tactic. When the battle came, they had been ready for everything the Zektar could do. Clever, he said to himself. Very clever. Across the galaxy, a new word began to spread among the alien species. A word that described the humans and their mysterious ways. Dangerous. The humans were dangerous, not because they were strong, though they were very strong. They were dangerous because they could think 50 years ahead. They could plan and wait, and prepare while appearing completely harmless. And if they could hide their strength for 50 years, what else might they be hiding? The galaxy was about to find out. 6 months after the Battle of Sol, the Galactic Council building looked different. New security systems had been installed. Extra guards stood at every entrance. The council members moved with nervous energy, knowing that everything had changed. Commander. Zareth walked through the corridors with a data pad in her hands. The reports she carried would reshape the political map of the galaxy. But first, she had to present them to the High Council. She entered the main chamber and saw that all 5 High Council members were present. But there was also a 6th chair. At the table. It was empty, waiting for a representative from Earth. Council members, Zareth began, I have the final intelligence reports on human capabilities. High Chancellor Viximor from the Dominion spoke first. Tell us the worst of it. Zareth looked at her datapad. Even after 6 months of investigation, the numbers still shocked her. We have confirmed the existence of 12 human dreadnought class vessels. Each one is equivalent in firepower to an entire fleet from any known species. What about their industrial capacity? Asked High Counselor Taishla from the Science Union. Far beyond what we imagined. Hidden facilities throughout their solar system can produce warships, weapons, and technology at a rate that matches our combined output. High Counselor Gorthan from the Trade Federation leaned forward. And their intelligence network? Extensive. We have identified human agents on over 300 worlds. Some have been in place for over 20 years. The council members exchanged worried glances. The humans had not just been building weapons. They had been watching and learning about every major civilization in the galaxy. There is more, Zareth continued. Our scientists have studied the battle recordings from the Zektar encounter. The human weapons use principles that we do not fully understand. Their technology may be 50 to 100 years ahead of our most advanced research. High Counselor Zikmar from the Military Alliance had been quiet until now. What are their intentions? Do they plan to conquer the galaxy? Unknown, Zareth replied, but they have made one thing clear. They want respect, not war. Respect? High Chancellor Veximer laughed bitterly. They have earned much more than respect. They have earned fear. The chamber doors opened, and a new figure entered. It was Admiral Sarah Chun, representing Earth at her first Galactic Council meeting. She wore a simple blue uniform with no decorations, except a small patch showing the Earth and Moon. The alien council members stood as she approached. This was a mark of respect, usually reserved for the most powerful species in the galaxy. Admiral Chun, High Chancellor Veximer said, "Welcome to the Galactic Council." "Thank you," Sarah replied. She took her seat at the table. "I understand you have been discussing my species." "We have many questions," High Counselor Taishla said. "Your technology, your intentions, your future plans." Sarah looked around the table. These beings represented civilizations that were thousands of years old. They had ruled the galaxy for longer than humans had existed as a species. But now they were afraid. "I will answer your questions honestly," Sarah said. "But first, let me make something clear. Humanity does not seek to conquer anyone. We seek only to ensure our own survival. By building the most powerful weapons in the galaxy?" High Counselor Zikmar asked. "By being prepared for any threat," Sarah replied. "For 50 years we watched and learned. We saw how species that appeared weak were destroyed or enslaved. We decided that would not be our fate." High Chancellor Veximer studied the human admiral carefully. "You deceived us all." "We protected ourselves," Sarah corrected. "There is a difference. What do you want from us?" High Counselor Gorthan asked. Sarah leaned back in her chair. "Trade. Agreements. Technology sharing. Mutual defense pacts." The same things that any civilization wants from its neighbors. And if we refuse, then you refuse, Sarah said simply. We will not force anyone to be our allies. But we will also not allow anyone to threaten Earth or human colonies. High Counselor Taisla spoke next. Your weapons technology, will you share it? Some of it with trusted allies, in exchange for technologies and resources that we need. Which technologies do you need? Taisla asked with surprise. You seem to have surpassed all of us, Sarah smiled. Admiral, we are good at building weapons and ships, but we still have much to learn about medicine, agriculture, and peaceful technologies. We would like to trade our military innovations for your civilian advances. The council members looked at each other. This was not what they had expected. The humans were offering to share their military secrets in exchange for peaceful technologies. There is another matter, High Chancellor Vexmer said. The Z-Car hegemony. They have been planning revenge against your species. We are aware of their plans, Sarah replied calmly. How can you be sure? Sarah touched a control on her datapad. The chamber's main screen came to life, showing a map of Zektar space. Red dots marked military bases and fleet positions. We have been monitoring their activities for months. They are gathering a force of over 1,000 ships. They plan to attack Earth within the next year. The council members stared at the display. The level of detail was incredible. The humans knew exactly where every Zektar ship was located. What will you do? High Counselor Zekmar asked. What we must, Sarah replied. We will defend ourselves. 1,000 ships, Vexmer said. Even your advanced technology cannot defeat such a force. Sarah's smile became wider. Admiral, you still think in terms of the old galaxy. You still believe that victory comes from having more ships. She touched her data pad again. The screen changed to show space near the Zektar home world. Suddenly, massive shapes began to appear as cloaking fields were deactivated. The council members gasped. Surrounding the Zektar home world were 6 human dreadnoughts. They had been sitting there invisible, waiting. We have had ships in position for 3 months, Sarah explained. If the Zektar attack Earth, their home world will be destroyed within minutes. Supreme Commander Draxith of the Zektar received the news in his war room on Zektar Prime. Around him, his military advisors stared at the displays, showing human ships surrounding their planet. How long have they been there? He asked. Unknown, Supreme Commander, his intelligence chief replied. They could have been there for months or years. Our sensors cannot detect them when they are cloaked. Draxith felt old and tired. He had spent his entire life preparing for war, but the humans had made war impossible. They could destroy his home world anytime they chose. Sir, his tactical officer said, what are your orders regarding the planned attack on Earth? Draxith was quiet for a long time. Finally, he spoke. Cancel the attack. Send a message to the human admiral. Tell her that the Zektar hegemony wishes to negotiate. Back in the Galactic Council chamber, Sarah was explaining humanity's vision. For the future, we propose a new system, she said. Instead of strong species dominating weak ones, we suggest cooperation between equals. Equals? High Counselor Gorthan laughed. Your ships could destroy our fleets easily. Military strength is not the only form of power, Sarah replied. The Science Union has knowledge that we need. The Trade Federation has resources that we want. The Exploration Guild knows parts of the galaxy that we have never seen. And the Dominion? High Chancellor Vexmer asked. What do we offer? Experience, Sarah said. You have governed interstellar civilizations for thousands of years. We have been in space for less than a century. We need to learn from your mistakes and successes. Over the following months, the galaxy began to change. The old system of conquest and domination slowly gave way to a new order based on cooperation and mutual benefit. The humans shared some of their military technology with species that proved trustworthy. In return, they received advances in medicine that added decades to human lifespans. They gained agricultural techniques that could feed billions of people on previously barren worlds. Trade flourished as human-protected shipping lanes became the safest routes in the galaxy. Pirates and raiders found that attacking merchant ships protected by human escorts was a very bad idea. The Ziktar hegemony, faced with the choice between destruction and cooperation, chose cooperation. They became humanity's most unlikely allies, providing military expertise in exchange for protection from their enemies. Other aggressive species throughout the galaxy took notice. If the mighty Ziktar could be forced to negotiate, then perhaps conquest was no longer the path to power. Year after the Battle of Sol, Admiral Sarah Chun stood on the observation deck of the U.E.'s Prometheus. Through the transparent aluminum windows, she could see a sight that would have been impossible just 2 years earlier. Human ships flew in formation, with vessels from a dozen different species. Scientists from Earth worked alongside alien researchers on joint projects. Trade ships carried goods between worlds that had been enemies for centuries. "Admiral," Lieutenant Commander Park said as he approached with a message pad, "we have received confirmation from the Outer Rim colonies. The Exploration Guild has agreed to our proposal for joint mapping expeditions." Sarah nodded. "Good. The more we work together, the stronger we all become. Admiral, may I ask you something?" "Of course. Did you ever imagine it would work out this way?" "When we first revealed